Friday. Have yourself a very witchy Vlogmas. Day 14. Is it day 14? It's day 14. Happy Friday. Hello, Danny. Hi. Danny asked if anybody has fun plans for the weekend. Let me tell you my fun plans, Danny. They were just presented to me. The reason I have bun head today, let's try to, yeah, you got to get the whole bun head. My toilet and bathtub are overflowing. I was in there brushing my teeth and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know it was going to rain today. But all of a sudden it's pouring down like a waterfall. What is that? And I shut the faucet off and I was like, wow, it's really coming down. And I ran out of the kitchen, or ran out of the bathroom to the kitchen to look out the kitchen window because you get a really good view of the backyard when it's raining. And there was no rain. I was like, oh, crap. Our house, when it rains, we just had a lot of rain here in LA. It's such an old house. There are tree roots that grow through the plumbing. So this is actually not... I feel like it just happened not that long ago, but it happens here at least once a year. And it's happening right now while I'm talking to you. So it's happened. I've lived here now for, it'll be 15 years in April. It's happened enough times that I'm like an old pro. I run, I get the shovel, I go out front, I pop the top off the little sewage thing, call the landlord. We'll wait for the guy to come here and like snake it out. But those are my weekend plans. Sierra says, sleep. Aw, this is fun. Tree decorating. Hello, everybody. I'm a little discombobulated because of that just happened a couple minutes ago. So this will help me. Reading your comments will help me get in the game here. Yay, Janine. Jam. 2 A's. I feel like I have to say it. Jam. Like, damn, jam. Hi, Linda. Hi, Monica. Oh, Sherry's here. Hello. And Sierra and Amber. Alicia. Hi, everybody. Molly. Good morning. Claire. Hello. France Claire. Pixie Stitch, hi. Oh, cool. There's new names here. Hi, Josh. Yay. Peace, love, and rocket ships to you, my friend. Hi, Heather. Hi, Jody. Salavi Studio. Oh, this is going to be a good one. I better make it a good one. I'll try my very, very, very best. I still have plumbing brain. Here's what I can do. Here's what I can do. I'll read you what's going on down below in the show notes. First of all, you can still, this is the Vlogmas special this week, get $10 off the Spiritually Mature Witch, 5 Keys to Unlocking Your Personal Power ebook. When you follow the link down below and put sorry no more in at checkout, it's an awesome, it's shadow work in disguise. I don't sell it as shadow work or present it that way, but it's an awesome way to like move. It teaches you practical techniques for moving through your day and doing a little bit of shadow work along your way. I love it. And then I'll just read kind of like the thing I put up on Facebook this morning too, for my own sake, to get me in the game here and get my head off of the plumbing waterfall. Decluttering. Decluttering is one of the quickest ways to create clarity and peace in your home. It also helps you get into alignment with the abundance you wish to receive. The same is true, and this is the piece we're going to talk about today, of internal feng shui, which we do by removing old stuck emotions and clearing energetic blocks, as within, so without. In this way, we create our lives from a place of freedom and a greater sense of ease. So it's really about letting that shit go so the good vibes can flow, and it is easier said than done. That is for sure. And yay, Sierra, are you talking about the ebook? I've already started reading / working through it, and I love it. Awesome. I think it's a good one. It's very, very practical. One of my 2019 goals is to completely declutter my house. Yay, that's a good goal. I have pieces sticking up here. Okay, and I also want to talk about the title of today's episode, which is Remove This Block. I'm going to talk about one specific block that will create a powerful vacuum to receive. And creating a vacuum is about creating space that the universe wants to fill. And a lot of times we ask and we ask and we ask and we ask to receive, but we have not created the space to receive. And when you're talking about creating space internally and doing a kind of decluttering of what's going on inside of you, it always comes down to the F word. It's really about forgiveness, and it's easy to carry junk around with you and not even realize that you're carrying it around with you. But forgiveness, I said it always comes down to that. Does it always? Is that true? It often comes down to forgiveness. And that is, I did not put forgiveness in the title because I don't think it's a sexy word that people like to talk about very often. But it's really, really powerful when you start tuning in to like weird beliefs you have, and you start maybe trying to manifest things that are outside of the realm of possibilities for you at this time, or they seem outside of the realm, and you hit a lot of blocks and you feel really stuck and you start doing a lot of energetic work. If you really, really, really tune in, like strange things come to the surface, strange memories come to the surface, and you can find that as hard as it is to forgive other people, it can be much, much more difficult to forgive yourself. And I think there are certain things that most of us have done in our lives that we deem unforgivable. And they're the things that live in the shadows because they're so unforgivable. It's painful to us. It's typically the way we've hurt other people, or maybe even the way that we've hurt ourselves and made ourselves very, very small and kept ourselves from living the life of our dreams and wasted time and, you know, let decades go and not really like stepping into our power. I think that, I guess this is kind of a heavy subject. It's something in the Shadow Love program for those of you who have done it. Like I talk about being haunted by this time that I don't even know how much it landed with this person that overheard me talking smack about her to my husband at the time. And, you know, like sometimes I feel like we'll say things to like our very best friend or our husband that we wouldn't say to anybody else. It's like this safe container for being a complete asshole. Or we think it is. And like sometimes the ugliest stuff comes up. And I was in one of those moments. I was being a complete jerk. And I think this person might have overheard me. And I think I hurt her feelings, and it absolutely crushed me. And it has haunted me in the years since. It has like followed me around like this ghost. Remember that time? It pops up at the most inopportune times, just randomly too. Hey, remember that time you were a total asshole and you hurt that person's feelings? Remember that? Yeah, you suck. You suck. You suck. And sometimes it's not appropriate to apologize to the person because a lot of time has gone by and you don't know the person very well, or you've done enough damage to that person, maybe that they don't ever want to hear from you or see you again, and reaching out to them would be further damaging. But at the very least, learning to forgive yourself in a situation like that is imperative for being able to create the kick-ass life of your dreams. Because as Louise Hay says, guilt requires punishment. if you feel guilty about something, you will punish yourself in a variety of ways. You'll punish yourself financially. You'll punish yourself with your health. That is extremely common. You'll punish yourself with pain. Having pain in your body can often be a self-punishing thing. And that is why, this too is why I'm not a big fan of like going and seeing somebody to like remove energetic blocks and things like that. I think that's fine if you're willing to do the work yourself. If like a block kind of comes up to the surface to be healed or to be released in your own awareness. But I don't think this is work that somebody else or some crystal, you know, can do for you. I think it's really your job to go there and to release those old, I say emotional blocks because they are, it's like this. It's like you have a splinter in your toe. So you go to the special witch doctor to like chant over your toe and light incense over your toe and do their special healing energetic block over your toe. And then they give you a special crystal to tape around your toe and you're like into it and you're feeling it. And you're like, maybe my toe is feeling better. I don't know. I feel it. I'm going to believe. I'm going to throw all my money and all my belief and energy that my toe is healed. My toe is better, when all you have to do is pull the fucking splinter out of your toe. Which again is easier said than done, because when it comes to guilt, when it comes to shame, these things can be very, very sticky. And it comes down to, I think, feeling like I don't deserve forgiveness. This is unforgivable. If you've ever slapped your child across the face or screamed and yelled at them or embarrassed your partner in a way where you actually saw the look of humiliation on their face in front of, like, I don't know, work friends or just friends, or you said something like awful to your mother that you know just crushed her. Things like that are so painful when you've hurt somebody you love, that it can be really, really challenging to actually release that stuff and let it go. And so that is what I'm talking about, removing this block. If you can remove a block that's that heavy and that deep and learn to forgive yourself, that's when you create like energetic space to receive. That's when it creates a vacuum to receive the love that you want. It could be anything. It could be the money that you want. It could be whatever you're punishing yourself with. It could be the health freedom that you want, that you haven't been able to get so far. I truly believe that if you're stuck in a manifestation process and you feel like you can't go any further, sometimes it really helps just to give your house a deep decluttering. That can really unlock a lot. But then this, what I'm talking about too, going really, really deep into the shadows and being like, where am I holding on to shame and guilt? Like, what is stuck and what needs to be released? I will share a technique for doing this too. I'm not going to leave you hanging, but I just kind of wanted to introduce the concept first. That can be so amazing. And then when you put the two together, like if you declutter your house, if you have a lot of clutter, if you have a situation going on, it's not uncommon to start crying. You start feeling like a lot of release and a lot of emotions go as you're releasing your junk. So these things are excellent to do in conjunction with each other as well. The asshole review happens when I'm trying to sleep. Molly, the asshole review. Yes, you know, I've gotten better and better and better at not being an asshole, I have to say, but I remember the times. I remember the times that I was not cool at all. It's the times that I've hurt people. It just is. So, I mean, and what if you've done something too? I think about this. Thank God I've never murdered anybody or molested anybody or done anything at that level. But there are people that have, and then they have another 60 years to live with themselves. Maybe they're in jail and they're thinking about it. I just read a story that I'm totally gonna mess up because I didn't take notes on it or anything, but I'll just leave you with the impression it left with me, because that's the best I can do off the top of my mind right now. But this man, he was a functioning alcoholic, if I understand correctly, and he drank all the time. And this one day he was drinking, not a lot. He didn't think he was drunk at all. He was drinking. It was a low drinking day. It wasn't a big drinking day for this guy who drank every day. And he actually killed. He accidentally, it was an accident. He drove his car into a crowd of people and killed like 4 or 5 people. He killed them. They're dead. And he went to jail, and he served his time in jail. And now he's out of jail now, and he's living a life, and he has a family of his own and a child of his own. And this article was just about the guilt that he feels every day, while at the same time he's saying he's going to live his life and he's going to enjoy his life. And it brought up a lot of feelings for me reading it, because I was thinking about the families of those victims, of those people who died, and how they might feel reading that. And does he deserve to have the little girl, the little daughter that he has now, and to have a happy marriage now and the career that he has now? Does he? And these are questions that he was grappling with yet still to this day, but saying, yes, I'm going to do this. I'm going to live my life, and I'm going to enjoy my life and cherish every single moment, even though I took these other lives. It was this very deep article. And I was recently hanging out with my mom and my Aunt Bonnie and their friend Sally. I told you guys about that. And I can't remember the show my Aunt Bonnie was talking about, but she was all into this show that she was watching, binge watching this show. And it came to this part where somebody had murdered somebody's relative. And the murderer had this like come to Jesus moment. I think he even became a Christian or something, but he like completely surrendered to God and felt so sorry and remorseful. And he was trying to apologize to this woman. And the woman said something like, I hope you burn in hell forever. And my Aunt Bonnie was so disappointed that the lady felt that way. And I was like, that's a hard one. Whoop, we got a fluff. This could be a Vesper fluff. Where does the fluff come from? I don't know. Anyway, so think about that, like how hard it is to forgive. And people do it. You hear these stories in the news of people forgiving like the murderer of their child, sometimes right after it happens. And it's like, whoa, that is deep. That is so deep. And when I think about that, like how it's hard to look at a scenario like that and imagine like forgiveness, it's interesting to think how the things that I have done, like hurting somebody's feelings, for example, how hard I struggle to let that go, and how energetically that lives inside of me, and I can pinpoint where it lives. And that we'll get into that in a second here when we talk about the technique, but I want to see if anybody else is talking about this. They're all like, Molly, we love you. Yes, we love Molly. Rachel, I did the Marie Kondo method once and it was amazing, but I need to do it again. She's got a very spiritual technique that I think is super duper groovy. I'm into it. Con Marie. And I love that she doesn't teach you have to be a minimalist, because I will never be a minimalist. It's just not going to happen. It ain't my style. It ain't my style. I'm a Libra. I like my stuff. I'm a book nerd. I'm never going to be a minimalist, but she's an animist. And that's what's interesting about that book, is like really treating your objects like they have a soul. And like I was talking about earlier, like thanking them. I forget what video that was in, but thanking them before you let them go. Rachel, yes, self-forgiveness is the hardest. Rachel and Mary are talking about the KonMari method of decluttering your home. It's not really feng shui. It's about space clearing and decluttering. And Rachel says the only thing is that I do think you have to repeat it every few years. It wasn't a one and done thing for me, but it was life changing. Yeah, and that's the subtitle of the book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And I think her message is it's an ongoing thing, that you're always tidying, and you do a little bit of tidying every day once you get it to zero. But I mean, old habits die hard. So some of us get it to zero and then we get it back how we like it, all comfy and messy in no time. Yes, I will share the technique for sure. I will. I'm not stalling. I'm just checking in with you guys to see like if we're on the same page and stuff. Mary writes, my big guilt is guilt about things that were done to me. I have a lot of shame and guilt around being a victim. Yes, this is something sexual abuse survivors really struggle with too. And I can't remember the guy's name. There's a guy, he was on Lewis Howes' show, The School of Greatness. I love Lewis Howes. If you're looking for an example of a man who, I hear a lot of women complain, there's no good men, and they're, like, why are men all, players and stuff like that? I'm like, dude, you have to go and find the proof of what you're looking for. And you can start with Lewis Howes. Like, he's a really interesting, open guy. And he was raped, I believe, as a young boy. And he has been open about that and shared that story. And he had another guy on his show that was repeatedly molested. I can't remember if I think he was raped and molested by a relative. And he actually said, I enjoyed it. And that didn't come out till like years and years and years later in his therapy. And then when it stopped, he wondered like what was wrong with him, like how could he make it happen again and stuff like this. And he felt tremendous shame and guilt about that. It's a harrowing, interesting story, but that is something that a lot of kids that are abused go through. They feel guilty for I mean, it's such a mind game beyond the physical abuse. It's how it impacts you psycho-spiritually. It's how it impacts your soul, your spirit, and your mind. And but even beyond that, not as harrowing as child abuse or sexual abuse is just, I feel like this kind of damsel in distress thing that some women are raised to be, like to be princesses, to be taken care of. I think you can get to a certain age. This is what happened to me. This is why the Queen program exists, because this is part of my journey, being a princess, being a damsel in distress. When the shit hits the fan, there always needs to be a man to take care of it when the plumbing is coming out the wall, or you ran out of money and oh my God, this bill is due, or whatever the thing is, always needing to be taken care of, always needing to be taken care of. You can get really like sick of your shit, but also you can feel guilty as well. And so I think like playing the victim or playing the martyr or playing the damsel in distress, once you have awareness of it, once you have awareness of the roles that you've been played, once you maybe have awareness that you've even been a bully, like any role that you've been playing that is distasteful to you, it requires forgiveness. Once you're like, oh my God, I've been a bully in this relationship, or I've been such a needy victim in this relationship. It's not cute. It's not cute when you have that realization. That's why people cry. That's when you bust out the journal. But also it's really important to find out where you've been storing that in your body, and to offer some healness. Hi, Karen. Oh, Karen, we've talked about some deep stuff. Karen's like, hi, I'm late. I'm like, I don't know how to catch you up because we just hopped into some pretty deep stuff today. Yes, Marie Kondo has a Shinto background and is very animist. Yes, I love that, though. I think that's really fascinating. Linda, my partner is a combat veteran and deals with those guilty feelings. Oh my gosh, for sure that must be so incredibly deep. It's hard to fathom, right? And I think that's too why these veterans, they not only have post-traumatic stress disorder, but they get these mental health issues. They need amazing therapists. Like that's something that should definitely be worked into their health plans. Sierra, I felt guilty for having that thought form that I would always have someone to take care of me. In this case, it's my dad. I understand that, yes. Oh, Molly Roberts. She says, if you are on the fence about Queen, it rocks. So insightful. I re-listen often, and the Facebook group is delightful. Thank you. I got a testimonial from Molly Roberts. That's so cool. Thank you, Molly. I'm working through that now with the queens in our program. Okay, so let's see. I think I reached the bottom of the comments, which does not happen very often. So I'm happy about that because I missed so many good things. Yesterday, I was only reading like half of comments, and then I went back and I saw the whole comment, and I'm like, that makes no sense what I just read out loud. Okay, so I have a feeling you all are familiar with the, I'm going to read it so I don't miss a O. It's a ho'opo ono po. I'm going to mess it up reading it. Ho'opo no pono, the Hawaiian prayer of forgiveness. I just think of it as the forgiveness prayer. I know so many of you are familiar with it. If you're not familiar with it, it is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. It's a really potent prayer for learning to not only energetically, like not face to face with a person, although it would be really powerful to do this with a partner, but if you have a hard time forgiving somebody else in your life, this is really powerful. But I have found it's the most potent for working with yourself. And at the most basic level, you just close your eyes, you put your hand over your heart, and you say repeatedly, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, until you can really get into a feeling place with it and you're feeling every single word of it. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And connecting with, I think this idea of the soft animal of your body and your soul, I feel like you can speak to your body in a way that is deeply, 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 deeply healing. And our bodies hold all of the guilt and the shame for us. Our bodies carry around all of this stuff. So the technique that I wanted to talk about is when something comes up for you, like a haunting. This is why I mentioned the haunting that I was talking about in the Shadow Love program, my own haunting of hurting this woman's feelings, right? So anytime that comes up for you, when you feel guilt or shame rise to the surface, this takes time, and it takes, you need a quiet place to be able to do that. And you need people to leave you alone, you know, close the door, go into a quiet space, get into like a really calm kind of meditative state, and close your eyes and ask, like, where am I holding this in my body? Where am I holding this memory or the guilt or the shame associated with this memory? If you can't identify it, and you're really good at like energy work or connecting with the divine, you can actually, I always say, I ask all high guides from the white light and love, from the fifth dimension and above, to join me now. And then I ask, this is a tool of the imagination. I imagine white light is coming through and down the top of my head, slowly all down my body, and it's washing away any little specks of darkness, any junk. It's like washing it all down. And you'll notice if you have a really powerful sense of imagination and you're really tuned in, it should create like a physical sensation. And you'll notice places that have more junk than other places, places where things are stuck. And that can help you identify where you're holding on to things. But regardless, once you find a place in your body that you're holding on to something like that, that is when you break it out and you start with the prayer and you get really, really, really sincere with it. And you apologize to your heart, your solar plexus, your big toe, wherever you're holding it. And you literally sincerely say, I am sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And self-talk is so important. I'm a huge fan of it. I talk to myself all the time, but this is going really, really deep with it. And it always helps me to think of like the animal of my body. I always say the soft animal of my body because of that Mary Oliver poem. Something about that really tunes me in and makes me want to be very compassionate and gentle and kind to myself, because we can be really hard on our bodies. Very judgmental, very mean to them. We can push them past their limits. And hearing like the soft animal of your body, to me, it just, you have to find what works for you. But then if you can sit with it, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Again, you can do this for your whole body, but it's really powerful if you can locate like where you're holding on to a pain. Maybe it's stuck in your throat somewhere. And you should start to feel it diminish. Usually a lot of emotion comes up with it, and that's amazing. Let it flow. Don't hold on to the emotion. Like, let it go. Let the big ugly cry happen and feel yourself releasing it. Sometimes you have to release these things over and over and over again, but every time you do, you're a little bit freer and you're opening up again, which is the theme of this video. You're creating a vacuum for whatever it is you're trying to receive to finally come in. It could just be you're trying to receive forgiveness. And a lot of times we pray to God for forgiveness, but I'm a big believer that God or the universe cannot do for you what it cannot do through you. So when it comes to forgiveness, it's about forgiving yourself. I feel like the universe, God, it's already forgiven you. It's already done. It's just a matter of, are you going to receive that? And are you going to accept that? And are you going to allow that? And then you get really deep again into the deserving and the worthiness of it. Do I deserve to be forgiven for this? Am I worthy of being forgiven for this? I can tell you right now, 100% for sure, you have definitely fucked up in your life because you're human, and we all have. Someone I think about that I actually relate to, I'm this guy. I'm this guy now because I'm this age in my life, is Richard in Eat, Pray, Love. Elizabeth Gilbert's friend from Eat, Pray, Love, who he was just like this, kind of like, he called her groceries. That was his nickname for her. And she met him in a monastery in India. It's probably not called a monastery. I forget what it's called, an ashram or something. But he just had a lot of wisdom, but you also got the sense that he had like royally fucked up his life before he got to that point. And you'll often see that character in like Western movies. There's like the weathered old cowboy who's like done some really bad shit in his life, but now all of a sudden he has this like Yoda quality to him. I feel like I have a little bit of that. I feel like I relate to that character. Like, the wisdom of, and I'm not calling myself an older person, I'm only in my 40s here, but the wisdom of older people is that they've been around the block and they know all the ways that people fuck up because they've done it themselves. And when you meet an older person that has a great sense of peace or joy, I don't think that's because they've lived a pristine life. And maybe we're not meant to, because as far as I know, none of us do. Richard, he's my favorite character in that book. He is raw as fuck, right? Yeah, I relate to him. I loved him. I remember when he died, the man that the character was based on in the book actually passed away. And I was very sad about that because I really connected with that character. Karen, it is kind of like cord cutting. They change when you do. Yes. Yeah, it is a lot like that. Oh, something interesting is happening. Let me scroll up and see what this conversation is about. Are you guys familiar with that prayer? I feel like it's pretty common knowledge in our community. Yes. Okay, here it is. I hate saying it out loud because it's a Hawaiian term and I feel like I mangle it. And then the harder I try, the more I mess it up. I love this prayer, Amber says. My mother-in-law taught me. Yes. It's a beautiful prayer, but I also think it's a really potent, powerful tool of release. And again, like I said, if you're stuck in your life, if you keep like coming up against a wall, I really wanted to talk about this at the end of the year too. When people, you know, if you go over your goals for the year and like what you were all fired up about making happen, and then you get to the end of the year and you're like, yeah, no, I didn't make that happen. Why? Why is that? I think it's interesting to work with that prayer. I think it's interesting to check in with yourself to see if maybe you're punishing yourself from something or holding yourself back from something because you don't think you're worthy of it or you don't think you deserve it. Again, it comes back to me, to spiritual abuse. And when I talk about like spiritual abuse and fundamental religions, fundamentalists, not just Christianity, there are other Abrahamic religions that definitely have this going on. It's not just about the first stages of when you're moving through leaving a religion like that and feeling guilty about it. Like, am I going to hell? I don't know if I'm going to hell. You know, there's like that whole period where you worry, like you get your first deck of tarot cards and you worry that it's evil and all that stuff is very real. And that happens. But I think there's this residual sense of just being a piece of filth, of being no good, of being a sinner. And that's so heavily ingrained in us, especially if you grew up in it. If you grew up in it, if you were born into it and you were raised in it, that programming is so deep. It goes so deep. And that can hang with you for a lifetime, even if, you know, now you call yourself a witch or you're practicing Wiccan or whatever, you know, you're an atheist, whatever it is, those programs about how, you know, you are a wretch in need of saving, that goes deep. That stuff that has to be released or it just hangs out in your system. And I believe that. A kahuna taught this concept to me, Anita said. That is cool. Well, that's the best place to learn it, to go to the source, right? I'm dying to see what this story is that Karen's telling, but I have not been able to. Ho'oponopono. Thank you. I can't see where the story started, Karen. I didn't believe it. I tried it on a junkie house. I guess we're talking about KonMari. That was trash filled that I judged every time I walked the dog. I chanted, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you," over and over again. The next day they started cleaning up. Oh, that's neat. That's interesting. Anita, it's taught mostly as a way for me to change my perspective, my heart. In this way, I learned to also be kind to myself as well as toward others. Yes. No, I did not read the history of how it affected the inmates, but I can imagine this would be an amazing prayer to take into prisons. I'm sure that would be extremely powerful. You say it ho'oponopono, slightly applying a guttural stop at the apostrophe. Yeah, I'm not going to try. I'm just going to call it the forgiveness prayer. I'm not going to do that on camera, Anita, and you can't make me. Sierra, I haven't been around long. However, I have been through a lot in my life. I regret absolutely nothing. All of the obstacles I experience are an opportunity for a positive learning experience. Yes, yes, that's true. But I think the older I get, I feel I do have regrets. There are things I wish that I would have done different, even as I recognize I can't change them. And there were opportunities to grow and learn and to break old patterns and opportunities to forgive. Whereas when I was younger, I had that kind of like no regrets, woo, no regrets attitude. You know, it's all a learning experience. It's all a process. And to me that, and this is just my experience, I'm not saying this is true of everyone, but as I got older and I got deeper into like shadow work and bumping up against like mysterious things in my life, you know, you get kind of fed up with like, why can't I get over this one thing? Why can't I make this thing happen that I know I'm perfectly capable of? Why do I keep sabotaging myself in this one area? I think that's when it's really powerful then to start looking at the regrets of your life and doing forgiveness work and doing shadow work and things like that. That's Yeti bud. That is always going to catch my eye. Phoebe and I have a little inside joke about a Yeti butt. Thank you for sharing that prayer. I am living in Hawaii and I have felt that strong energy that brought me here so intensely recently. I am going to sit with Mama Maui and use this prayer. Annalise, why do I keep meeting people from Hawaii? Wow. And my son keeps asking to go to Hawaii. That is very interesting. That's maybe going to have to be one of our birthday trips because Hawaii keeps coming up. Karen, going on about the prisoners, she said, they did not know the warden was praying for them. He did it alone. He didn't leave his office, but the prison dramatically changed. That's fascinating. That's fascinating. I think because we're energetic beings, I think like if you're in a family situation or a group situation of some kind, when one person changes and releases a bunch of junk, I do think that it can have a domino effect and create an invitation or an opportunity for other people to follow suit. It creates a different level of peace and safety and openness when one person is holding that kind of energy. Sierra, I definitely understand that perspective. I have those issues that I run into. I think that I see myself as so young that I can take all that shit on. For sure. There's an invincibility that comes with youth. For sure. Luckily, you're a wise young person. I was not. I was like a crash test dummy of a young person. I was just like crashing into this thing over here and crashing into this thing over there. I was one of them peoples. So I am actually going to go deal with my plumbing. So this is going to be a short one today because I've had it on the back of my mind. You may have been able to tell my energy was a little different today because this subject to me is really important and I want to treat it respectfully, but also my bathroom is exploding right there and I really should handle that and deal with it and find out what else is going on. So the vlogs that I have to edit for this weekend are major. Like each one is going to take many, 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 many hours to edit. So we'll see how successful I am with that. The goal is to post one on Saturday and one on Sunday, and then I'll be back here on Monday at 8:30 a.m. live, and I will definitely shout that out on social media. But thank you guys so much for meeting me here today. I hope this was helpful. Try that technique. If you try it, definitely let me know. I'm curious to know, maybe over the weekend you can try it. I think the holidays are an awesome opportunity to do that kind of work before you go see your family to see if it makes any kind of difference. Oh, good, Anita. Cool. Let me know how it goes. Have a wonderful weekend, y'all. Says Amber. Yay. Hi, William. Have a great weekend, everybody. Much love to you guys. Peace.